Hey there, and welcome to Workforce Pulse, the podcast for recruitment and staffing founders who are ready to grow, scale, and shake up the industry. I'm your host, Kirutika Munusamy, and I'm so glad that you're here. This is where we have real, no nonsense conversation about what it takes to build a thriving business in recruitment and staffing. Forget the fluff. We're all about strategies that actually work, shared by the people who've been there and done it. A quick shout out to our sponsor, Ambrosial Automations. At Ambrosial Automations, we are like your behind the scene growth partner. We help recruitment and staffing businesses streamline their operations, bring in quality leads, boost sales, and scale, all without the risky upfront costs. We work on a revenue share model, so we don't succeed unless you do. If you're curious about how it works, head over to ambrosialautomations.com for a free 12-month growth plan that is tailored just for you. All right, let's dive in. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Jaime, the founder and CEO of Inspire Human Resources, a firm she established in 2007 to provide interim senior HR experts for organizations navigating complex human resource challenges. With a career in HR since 1994, Jaime has developed and implemented strategies in workforce culture, talent management, coaching, talent acquisition, always emphasizing diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Jaime, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here.
The pleasure is all ours. So, Jaime, tell us more about yourself, your background, and the role within Inspire HR.
Sure. I am a proud University of Maryland alum. We did really well in the Final Four basketball this season, and went to Columbia for my master's in organizational psychology. And from there, really had experience across high growth startups, American Express. And then in 2007, this is our 19th year, founded Inspire HR. And I wake up every day with full of energy, loving what I do, help companies, as you said, with fractional interim needs. And we have a great team of experts that parachute in, and they're just great humans with no ego, ready to do good work. So I feel really blessed.
That's great. That's great. So what does your role entail in your company?
Yeah. So as the founder, I have the pleasure of making sure that our brand, our experience of our clients, our brand is strong, and that I call deliver and delight. So it's always, I always start with kind of the vision and mission of the company, which is just to provide, premium fractional HR services to, help whatever the workplace is, whether it's your, dining room table or being back in the, the skyscraper, to make that workplace the best place. And so each day in my mind really starts with making sure that we deliver on that mission, and then making sure that my team, my leadership team, and all of our experts that do the work are having a positive experience. I don't know. We spend more time at work than we do at home with our families and friends. We better be having a good time. So just making sure the culture stays strong. And then I also do a lot of hanging out with the Inspire community, getting, heads of HR in a conversation, whether it's a virtual salon, or gathering around a table in New York for a really intimate conversation at dinner. I think trust feels like a luxury item these days, which is with people where you can speak your truth is everything. So I do a lot of that kind of community building stuff as well.
Amazing. Yeah. So what big trends are you seeing in the industry right now?
How much time do you have? Okay, so I sit here in the States. I'm in New Jersey, right outside of New York, and we are in a moment of a new administration who has offered a long list of new executive orders that have really have implications on the way that organizations are really talking about and implementing programs that create inclusion, belonging, DEI, whatever the noun is that you want to use. So straight up, a lot of the trend right now is organizations figuring out, how do we still create this culture of fairness and transparency and trust without having to worry about whatever is next, of getting that assessed or getting whatever. People don't know what is next. The government has been told that they have to really trim those programs. And I think that people in the private sector here in the US are getting ready for that. So I have to be honest, the trend right now is to be a little distracted and overwhelmed, and to figure out how to still do the good work and be compliant. So that is trend one. Who knew that trend was coming? We had other trends we were going to focus on in 20, but this is the moment that we find ourselves in. So we're rising to it. Secondly, the big trend is AI. So many folks in our community are really thinking through how they make sure they are using this tool as a partner, not to, I always say, AI is not going to take our jobs, but people who don't know how to work with AI will take our jobs, right? So the idea is,
Yeah.
how do we utilize the tech as a tool to
Mm.
fast track, almost like a really eager intern, fast track
Yeah.
the work that we're doing so we can do the more strategic. And I think that, folks they're wondering, some want to dip their foot in the pool and let others try it first. Others want to dive in. So that's
Yeah.
another big trend. The other, I could go on, but the last one is the mix up, the mashup of virtually work from home. So here we are,
Yeah.
5 years since the pandemic launched, but
Mm-hmm.
there is a real push to be back in the office in a big way. There are a couple of companies that are always kind of like those leaders,
Yeah.
Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, and then others kind of want to be on track with those organizations. So we're hearing more and more 2 days in the office, 3 days in the office. One of our clients just said they're going to move to 5 days in the office. So that is
Wow.
another thing. And I'm here to say, and I speak to organizations large and small, every zip code. I want everyone to know no one has it nailed. No one has it figured out. Everyone's like, if we did this one thing, we're all learning together. But the
Yeah.
takeaway is create moments that matter if you're going to bring people together so that
Mm-hmm.
the morale stays strong and people really see the value of being in person again. So 3 big trends: DEI, how to handle that, AI, and very much the return to work model. Yeah.
Yeah. And how would you say Inspire HR is dealing with all the three trends that you just mentioned?
Yeah. So we work with clients to do interim fractional work to fill in a role if it's absent because someone left without a lot of notice or someone's on parental leave, or help with projects. So the way that we're dealing with it is that on the daily, when we're with clients, making sure that we're kind of helping them be the smartest one in the room. So if we
Yeah.
are, let's say, doing a 6-month interim head of HR role at a
Mm-hmm.
financial services firm, letting them know that as we look at the trends and we speak to all the different organizations out there, we are seeing the trend to go back 3, 4, maybe even 5 days back in the office. So if we're
Yeah.
going to be a modern organization, just think about those implications, thinking about what the organization needs to look like in 26, 27, so that whatever the business strategy is, the people strategy meets it. Regarding inclusion, very much like, for example, I had a client the other day say, I'm about to sign my annual benefits renewal. So here in the US, we pay for our own benefits. We have to sign as HR leaders the benefit renewal every year to give
Mm-hmm.
that as an employee benefit. She said, we give gender affirming care. And
Oh,
I don't know that I want my name on a contract if that is suddenly, who knows what's ahead, if that suddenly is something that we can't offer anymore. I, as an individual, am nervous to sign it. So again, if you and I had spoken back in January 4th, this would have never been on anyone's radar. Like, that's
yeah.
an example of being a sounding board and letting them know, this is what we're hearing from our attorney partners. This is what we're hearing from how other companies are handling it, and just helping them make the decisions that are best for the moment.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's how we kind of get brought into these conversations, is through doing the fractional interim work and then helping them with whatever's going on right then. But how do you
Mm-hmm.
attract and retain talent
Mm-hmm.
with all the things that we're putting in place?
That's great. That's great. And how about the AI part? How are you incorporating AI
Hmm.
in your company?
Yeah. So for us, we're slightly AI obsessed. We're forever trying to very much use it. We have a lean organization. It's myself and a leadership team of 3 other colleagues and about
Mm-hmm.
15 plus experts. So we're a lean and mighty team. And so we are very much using it to do I don't think of it as like a Harvard MBA intern. It's more of an eager intern. So just to create the first draft of a job description, just so that we can very much edit and make it more customized or use it. One of our clients said she got her summer back because they do an annual employee survey,
Mm-hmm.
and she said, I typically spend July going through all the verbatims and looking at all the comments. And rather this year, I had an AI solution to go through those comments, obviously flag anything that's about harassment, discrimination, but for the
Yeah.
rest to create overarching themes so that she can come up with, spend her time in the recommendations. So that's
Yeah.
how we end up utilizing AI, is looking for those process efficiencies. So we internally use it a lot as a company, but we're
Mm-hmm.
always really encouraging our clients to look at the process and the people and look how we can create, all of those efficiencies. Yeah.
That's great. Okay. So, are there any big challenges that you're seeing for your company right now?
So for us as Inspire, for our
Yeah.
clients, for us,
Inspire HR.
sure, on the daily.
Mm.
So let's see. Whenever there's a challenge, it just kind of energizes me. So the challenge for us, what is the challenge of the moment? The challenge is probably staying on top of all of the changes with DEI. Again, I'm always trying to
Yeah.
be like a week ahead of whatever is coming next.
Yeah.
The other is that the economy is a bit uncertain here in
Mm-hmm.
the US. Just there's been a lot of fluctuation in the market. So again, making sure that we always have the right amount of experts ready to go for whatever projects are coming up next. So we just ended Q1. It's early
Yeah.
spring, early April, but my head's already on where are we going to be for Q3 and what are the needs that clients are going to have coming up. So wanting
Yeah.
to make sure that our experts are ready to go and we have enough experts to meet
Yeah.
whatever the demand is for the future. So we're always out talking to folks that are looking to do fractional interim work so that we always have the right bench of folks, whether it's in, for example, pay transparency is a very big trend here in the US. 20 plus states have it required, et cetera. There are also national laws. So a lot of our clients are getting their head around that. So we're looking for compensation experts to make sure that we have plenty of folks for whatever the need is going to be later in the year. So those are
Got it.
probably the top two things. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are there any big initiatives that Inspire Human Resources is working on at this moment?
So growth. So this is our 19th year and we've been around. We're actually the first one to provide fractional interim as far as I know. If anyone else was providing it in '06, when I was the mom of two young twins,
Mhm.
I would have just gone to work for them. It did this whole like working from home around certain hours at work for you. It just didn't exist. So
Yeah.
so I kind of started it from the corner of our living room with like the Elmo doll and like the Thomas the Train stuff while I was raising our twins. So for us, 19th year, the big initiative is to ensure that we are still the go-to provider. It has become a more
Yeah.
crowded space. Interim is on the tip of leaders' tongues. It's great. They now know what it is. There has been a lot of folks who themselves have just decided as humans just to go ahead and offer interim. And there's lots
Yeah.
of folks that are doing the same work at us. And I don't really see them as competitors. I trade notes with so many other founders on
Mhm.
what their business is doing. I feel like there's plenty of work for everyone and nobody needs to be up nights and weekends figuring things out. Like, let's just chat and talk about how you're doing marketing or how you're doing, how you're using AI.
That's
But
right.
that said, there are more, when we speak to clients, they're looking at two or three vendors where years ago we were the only one. So I think when I think of our focus, it's growth, right? So it's how do we
Yeah.
continue to evolve and always provide services where we can make sure that we meet the need of the client and that we can differentiate ourselves in the market in some cool and unique way. Yeah.
Right. Great. And are there any specific sectors, subsectors of recruitment and staffing that you work in, or is it pretty agnostic?
It's pretty agnostic. We do a lot in the nonprofit space and tech and media, and we work with a lot of PE firms who have portcos. One needs three coaches, one needs HR built from scratch, one might need
Hmm.
an employee relations issue dealt with. So
Yeah.
we're really kind of all over. Typically clients that are 50 or more,
Hmm.
once you get a bunch of humans together, their HR needs, so
Yeah.
typically 50 or more employees, yeah, are where we are. But yeah,
Got it.
across, yeah, we've got folks in 8 states, 8 of the 50
Hmm.
states, and we have clients all in lots of different states. So again, as more and more clients want work on site, which we're happy to do, wanting to make sure that, you asked about challenges, making sure that we have, or initiatives, making sure that we have enough experts in the various regions of the US so we can be on
Yeah.
site as this trend of doing more and more on site is in vogue. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So, what about the opportunities that lie ahead for Inspire HR this year?
Oh, yes. So many. I think that there is a huge window to help HR leaders continue to come together. We've been doing these salons virtually
Hmm.
2+ years, maybe. I living outside of New York, we'll bring together HR leaders in person a couple times a year. And
Hmm.
I would love to be able to do that in Boston, in Austin, I need to think of other cities that rhyme. Boston, Austin, Denver, San Francisco, but having the ability to replicate that in other communities is something that's very much on my mind. Again, I think that we bring together people virtually all the time, but having people in the room where they can really discuss is really precious these days. Again, like I
Hmm.
said, trust feels like this luxury to be able to be with
Yeah.
folks in person. So that's an opportunity. The other is to really, we're starting with our clients who are kind of stumped on how to kind of begin when they are new to role, like they just got
Yeah.
hired as a CHRO or they're just now the VP of total rewards, thinking, how do they land and look at
Hmm.
all the people and all the process and
Yeah.
ensure that they are quickly, in like those first 100 days, really making impact. And it's so hard to do it if
Yeah.
you don't have a partner. So an opportunity that I see is to help those folks, especially who are new to role, to very much look at people and process and look at how they can very much use AI or any type of tech tool to expedite, streamline processes and make sure that they have the right humans, the right people in the right roles with the right org structure. So that's another opportunity. Yeah. So getting folks together and making sure that people and process are quickly assessed from the jump. And sometimes people, although they've been in role for a long time, they want to have a fresh look because perhaps there's a new CEO with a new directive, or maybe they're entering a new market. So doing that assessment to kind of set them up for success is a big opportunity. Yeah.
Interesting. That's great. Okay. So tell us about the vision that you have for the next 2 to 3 years for your company.
Yes. Well, first off, I'm hoping that we're working in a climate and a globe that is hospitable, right? Like that would be my first vision, that it is an easier place to work where there's also peace, right?
Yeah.
We have clients all over. So for example, we have clients where, there are these, as I know you have, these large weather systems that come through where there's a hurricane or a tornado or fires, and it's disruptive. So many people work at home and not everybody has a backup to the backup to keep the electricity or keep the internet connection. Also, we have people, for example, who could run payroll in a region and that region doesn't have electricity. And then how does payroll get done? So a big thing on my mind is, I think 3 to 5 years out, is how do we help our clients start to think about emergency preparedness isn't the right word. That sounds too tactical. How do they think about how to kind of future-proof the organization for this world that we are all going to live and hopefully thrive in? So that's kind of I don't know if that's like a business strategy, but that's kind of where my mind goes. Like, how do we really get ready for whatever is around the corner? The other piece of our vision and strategy is thinking through what it is that the employee experience needs to be. So we kind of look at it from the moment, the entire employee experience. So from when you identify the need, post a job description, you hire, you retain, you really develop, you do succession planning. And at some point, folks might need to offboard, and you always want to leave people feeling even better than when they came in, right? The whole employee experience. And when I think about what's ahead, it's how do we help our clients create this really premium employee experience? Because I think as economies shift and as the labor market changes, people will have more choice of where they want to go. New businesses are being created, new technologies are blossoming in pharma and tech, et cetera. So wanting to make sure that our clients have whatever the premium experience is going to be now, so that their clients, so that as they attract and retain employees, those people are there to stay. I also think about how, in the next, 3 to 5 years, we will have more and more boomers retire. Here in the US, we have 4-ish generations that are kind of working together, and that multi-generational workplace presents challenges. But thinking about as more and more boomers retire and as more kind of Gen X, Gen Y fill in roles, become leaders, what that workplace needs to look like, again, to make sure that things are harmonious and organizations can very much do the beautiful work without the distraction of any of those challenges in the way that people communicate and things like that. Yeah. I kind of live in the future. I'm like always, it's funny that you bring up, I like the 6 ideas of what I wanted, what the vision is for the next 3 to 5. But for Inspire, it's really growth, adding new geographies where we have deep concentrations of experts, and then ensuring that we always have kind of the top HR modern thinking to help our clients. So when we go to fill in a role, we're not just there to cover for someone on parental leave who's out that runs benefits during open enrollment, but we're really doing even more than keeping the trains running on time, but really just upskilling the team organically when we're there and bringing them innovative ideas.
That's great. Amazing. So with all that, it's a wrap for today's session of Workforce Pulse. Huge thanks to our guest, Jaime, for sharing her incredible insights on all the topics. Now, before we go, Jaime, where can people find you if they want to connect or learn more about your work?
Sure. They can always get me at hello@inspirehumanresources.com. Our site is inspirehumanresources.com. It's a long URL, but that's us. And thanks for asking. I'd love to be in touch.
Perfect. So make sure that you follow Jaime if she's on LinkedIn.
She is.
Can you just make sure?
Yes.
Great. So she is on LinkedIn. You can follow her on LinkedIn and check out Inspire Human Resources website. And also If you need any help, you can message her on the email ID that she just mentioned. To our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And one more time, if you're stuck in the grind of manual processes or struggling to grow, we can help you optimize operations, bring in leads that convert, boost sales, and scale without the upfront risk. Head over to ambrosialautomations.com to get your free custom 12-month growth plan. All right, that's it for today. Thanks again, Jamie. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Let's build, grow, and keep the workforce pulse alive. See you next
Thank
time.